I'm Dawn Hill, host of Heart, Mind, and Purpose, a podcast where we explore what it means to live an aligned and wholehearted life. I am a professional counselor with over 25 years of experience and a deep love for meaningful conversation. I bring you honest reflections, soulful questions, and meaningful tools for managing life. Whether you're seeking clarity, connection, or simply a space to breathe, this podcast is here for you. Tune in weekly and join me on the journey.
Welcome to Heart, Mind, and Purpose, the podcast where we explore how our inner lives shape the way we love, connect, and grow. Hi, this is Paul Gramercy, producer of today's episode. Today, Dawn invites us to slow down and take an honest look at something many of us rarely pause to consider, the life we are actually living right now. In a world that moves quickly and rewards constant productivity, it's easy to slip into autopilot and lose touch with what's really happening inside us and around us. Today's conversation explores the power of pause, how slowing down can bring greater emotional awareness, deeper connection in our relationships, and renewed clarity about the direction of our lives. Now here's your host, Dawn Hill.
Welcome back to Heart, Mind, and Purpose. Today I want to begin with a question that might feel a little uncomfortable, but is also incredibly important. What is the life you are actually living right now? Not the life you planned, not the life you hoped for, and not even the life other people think you are living, but the life that is unfolding inside you emotionally, relationally, and spiritually. Because something many people discover, often quietly and slowly, is that it is possible to be very busy, very responsible, very productive, and still feel disconnected from your own life. Disconnected from your emotions, disconnected from the people you love, disconnected from God, and even disconnected from yourself. And often the reason is simple. We've been living on autopilot. So today we're going to talk about something surprisingly powerful, the courage to pause, and how slowing down emotionally, relationally, and spiritually may be one of the most important skills for living a meaningful life. So let's talk about the life we planned versus the life we are living. Most of us grow up with some idea of how life is supposed to go. You work hard, you build relationships, you create stability, you accomplish goals, and there's nothing wrong with those things. But somewhere along the way, many people discovered something surprising. Life can become so full of doing that we have lost track of being. God did not make us human doings. He made us human beings. We fill up our calendars, responsibilities grow, emails, text, deadlines, obligations, and slowly, without meaning to, we begin to move through life faster and faster, not because we want to, but because the pace of the world pulls us there. And when that happens, something subtle begins to occur. We stop noticing, we stop reflecting, and we stop asking deeper questions like, how am I really doing? What am I feeling? How are my relationships actually going? And am I living in alignment with what matters most? Instead, we move through life mostly on autopilot. Autopilot is efficient, but it can also be dangerous to the soul. Because when we move through life without slowing down, we often react rather than respond. Our brains are wired for survival. When stress rises, the brain can quickly activate to a defense system, the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses. Those responses are incredibly helpful when we are in real danger, but it is not always helpful in relationships. When we rush, we react quickly. We interrupt, we assume, we defend, we escalate, and suddenly what could have been a conversation becomes conflict. But something interesting happens when we slow down. Slowing down interrupts the automatic reaction. It gives the brain time to engage the thoughtful parts of our mind instead of just the defensive parts. It allows space for curiosity, for empathy, and for understanding. When we are rushing, we are often jumping to conclusions. When we slow down, curiosity has time to grow. Instead of assuming someone's intentions, we begin to ask questions. Instead of reacting with judgment, we begin to respond with understanding. And empathy deepens connection in ways that speed never can. The power of the pause In our fast-paced world, the ability to pause becomes almost a superpower. A pause is not laziness, a pause is not avoidance, and a pause is intentional awareness. It is the moment between stimulus and response where wisdom can grow. Sometimes that pause is simply a breath before answering a difficult question. Sometimes it's stepping outside for a short walk before making a big decision. Or sometimes it's choosing to listen instead of defending. But that pause brings change. Research on mindfulness has shown that practices like breathing, reflection, and gratitude can strengthen areas of the brain responsible for emotional regulation and decision-making. In other words, pausing literally helps our brains function better. The spiritual discipline of pause. I am sure that many would agree that American culture places a high value on accomplishments. Many would also agree that the constant doing comes at a price, most often relationship erosion. We can lose awareness of God, of others, and even of ourselves. Add stressful events like politics, economic uncertainty, racial tensions, and stresses at home, and life can quickly feel exhausting with little capacity to be attentive to important relationships. The discipline of pause is really about creating small moments in your day where you step away from all the doing and simply be. These aren't the kinds of moments we usually measure or check off a list. They are quiet, intentional spaces that allow us to breathe, to settle, and to reconnect. And in those pauses, we are reminded of God's presence, the gift of our relationships, and who we truly are, the beloved. Solitude teaches us the benefit of intentional withdrawing to become present to God, to others, and to ourselves. Despite all the texts, tweets, and social media, genuine human connection seems elusive these days. Intentional withdrawal to talk with God creates a pause, allowing us to reset our focus and to be present with others. Silence teaches us to listen. Our age is mostly noisy. Few truly listen. Almost everyone talks over other sentences. Our days are filled with interruptions. In the silence, we become quiet to listen, again to the voice of God, to the people in our lives who speak truthful words of correction and affirmation to us, and to the state of our own souls. And stillness. Stillness teaches us restraint. It frees us from the deception of our busyness and our productivity that make work indispensable. Slowing our lives down and becoming still before God enables greater discernment regarding what appropriate engagement looks like going forward. Mother Teresa was an outstanding example of the blending of being and doing. She lived a very active life and built a ministry movement to the world's poorest people. Yet 5 times a day she would pause. Her prayers didn't support her work. Rather, her work were the fruit of her prayers. How did she do it? She scheduled regular sacred pauses each day to nurture solitude and a listening heart, and to stop in order to discern how the Lord was asking her to engage with the world. So how does one begin to practice the discipline of pause? Begin by scheduling several moments each day to enter in a place of solitude. As these moments arrive, stop, breathe, and relax. And there you are practicing solitude. As you withdraw, become silent. Notice how you come during these times. Listen for what is most true about you in that moment. Are you distracted by the present concerns? Or are you overwhelmed by the frantic management of your life? Then become still. Look forward toward the next few hours. What will you be facing? How is the Lord asking you to show up for the next part of your day? And just sit in that stillness until you are ready to move forward. While the world frantically seeks to make sense of chaotic and uncertain times, pausing will help you find rest and refreshment for your soul, and through moments of solitude and silence and stillness, you will find peace and rest. Interestingly, this idea of pausing is not new. It has deep spiritual roots. Many spiritual traditions speak about the importance of solitude, silence, and stillness because constant doing has a cost. It can erode our relationships. It can disconnect us from God and from ourselves and others. The discipline of pause is simply the practice of creating small spaces in our day to step away from constant activity and remember what truly matters. It might be a quiet moment of prayer, a few minutes of stillness, a walk where you simply notice the world around you, or a moment to ask, God, what are you trying to show me right now? Even someone like Mother Teresa, who lived an incredibly active life serving others, paused multiple times each day for prayer and reflection. Her work flowed out of those moments of stillness. The doing was the fruit of her being. Some practical ways to slow down begin with pause before responding. When conversations become tense, take a breath before speaking. Even saying something simple like, "Let me think about that for a moment," can create space for clarity. Or practice active listening. Give someone your full attention instead of planning your response. Focus on understanding. You might even reflect back on what you heard. Set aside regular moments to ask deeper questions, like, how am I doing? What do I need? And what feels heavy lately? These small conversations prevent larger problems. You could practice mindfulness. A simple breathing exercise can calm the nervous system quite quickly. Slowly inhale through your nose to a count of 4, and then slowly and gently exhale out of your mouth to a count of 6. Even 1 minute can reset the body. Sometimes using physical touch, holding hands, a hug, a reassuring touch. Physical connection can communicate safety faster than words. Sometimes the most important step in growth is simply asking better questions. You might reflect on these this week. Where am I living on autopilot? What emotions have I been avoiding? What relationships need more attention? Where might God be inviting me to slow down? Or what part of my life needs care right now? Reflection isn't about criticism. It's about awareness. And awareness is where growth begins. Living a meaningful life is not about moving faster. It's about moving with more intention. Slowing down may feel uncomfortable at first, but when we pause, we notice, we listen, and then we reconnect. And then slowly we begin to align the life we actually are living with the life we deeply desire. So today I want to invite you to try something simple. It's a short, guided pause exercise. If you are able, take a deep, comfortable breath. Let your shoulders relax and gently slow your breathing. Now I want you to take a slow breath in through your nose to the count of 4, 2, 3, 4, and then slowly let it out through your mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again, inhale slowly. 2, 3, 4, and exhale slowly out of your mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now take a moment to simply notice where you are. Notice your body. Notice your breathing. Notice any emotions present right now without judging them. Just observe them. If your mind feels busy, that's okay. Simply return your attention to your breath. Now gently ask yourself one question. How is my life actually going right now? Not the version you show others, not the version you wish it were, but the honest version. Whatever comes to mind, simply notice it. Not to fix it, not to judge it, just to be aware of it. Take one more slow breath in and exhale through your mouth slowly. And as you continue your day, carry this simple reminder with you. Sometimes the most meaningful changes in life begin with a single moment of pause. Remember to ask yourself, how is my life actually going right now? And then listen, because that moment of honesty may be the very place where a new season of growth begins. Thank you for spending time with me today on Heart, Mind, and Purpose. And if this episode encouraged you, Consider sharing it with someone who might need a reminder to slow down as well. Until next time, may you be kind to your heart, clear in your mind, and grounded in your purpose. Thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for joining us for this episode of Heart, Mind, and Purpose. If today's episode encouraged you to slow down, reflect, or reconnect with what matters most, we hope you'll share it with someone who might need that same reminder. You can find resources and listener handouts at dawnmariehill.com/heart. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode as we keep exploring how the heart, the mind, and our sense of purpose all work together for a life well lived. If you have questions or comments, please contact Dawn at heartmindandpurpose.podcast@gmail.com. Until next time, thanks for listening.